Morning light spills across the tall iron school gate as streams of students walk inward in small groups, their footsteps echoing softly while conversations overlap in a lively rhythm that signals the start of another ordinary school day. Aaron stands just beside the gate, momentarily still among the flow of students, his posture calm but reserved as his blank shadow stretches faintly beneath him on the pavement. Pablo steps up beside Aaron with an energetic smile, leaning slightly closer as he listens attentively while the noise of students fades into the background. Aaron turns his head toward Pablo and speaks in a low, casual tone, telling him to meet after class so they can have lunch together at his mother's food house. Pablo's eyes brighten instantly as excitement spreads across his face, and he nods eagerly before lifting his hand to wave goodbye. Pablo turns away and jogs toward the inner campus buildings, disappearing into the crowd as Aaron watches him go for a brief moment. The scene cuts to the classroom entrance as Aaron slides the door open and steps inside, the low murmur of seated students filling the room. As Aaron walks toward his seat, one classmate leans back in his chair and loudly asks if Aaron's shadow is finally working, drawing immediate attention. A few students nearby snicker and laugh quietly, covering their mouths as their eyes drift toward the floor where Aaron's shadow lies unnaturally still. The teacher suddenly raises their voice, sharply ordering the class to stop laughing and prepare for the exam, instantly restoring silence to the room. Aaron sits down quietly at his desk, and as he settles in, he notices Nika beside him, her long hair falling gently over her shoulders as she offers a soft, reassuring smile. Aaron nods back at her with a small smile before focusing on his desk, the tension easing slightly as the exam papers are handed out. After a long hour of writing, the bell rings and students begin passing their papers forward, the classroom filled with relieved sighs. Aaron hands in his paper, stands, and exits the classroom, the hallway outside feeling noticeably quieter after the exam. At the edge of the hallway, Aaron spots Pablo sitting casually against the wall, waiting with an easy grin that immediately lifts his mood. The scene transitions to a modest roadside food house where the scent of freshly cooked meals drifts into the open air, and Aaron and Pablo step inside together as the lunchtime crowd hums with quiet activity. Becky stands behind the counter busily serving dishes to customers, her movements practiced and efficient as she greets the two boys with a familiar smile. Behind her, the kitchen area glows with heat and steam as Riggin, her Umbra, works skillfully at the stove, stirring and chopping with confident, precise motions. Riggin notices Aaron and Pablo and pauses just long enough to lift one hand in greeting, his expression calm and welcoming despite the busy kitchen. Aaron and Pablo wave back instinctively, smiling with clear amazement as they watch the Umbra move so naturally within the cramped space of the food house. Becky soon places steaming plates of food on their table, the rich aroma rising as the two boys lean forward eagerly. Aaron and Pablo eat heartily, exchanging satisfied glances as the noise of the food house fades into a comforting background blur. After finishing the meal, Pablo leans back with a grin and casually invites Aaron to come over to his place to play video games. Aaron brightens immediately and agrees with an enthusiastic nod, clearly pleased by the invitation. The two stand up and thank Becky and Riggin sincerely, bowing their heads slightly before preparing to leave. Becky smiles warmly and tells them not to wander too far, her voice carrying the gentle concern of a parent. Riggin steps forward and hands them a small wrapped snack, his calm smile suggesting quiet pride in his cooking. Riggin is a master chef and is an Umbra of Becky who has long served as the heart of Becky's food house. Aaron and Pablo is walking on the roadside blending with other pedestrians and heading to Pablo's house. The scene abruptly cuts to an elegant black car parked nearby, two men in black tuxedos standing silently on either side like sentinels. Inside the car, the camera frames only the lower body and hands of a mysterious man as he speaks quietly into his phone, his face deliberately hidden. A tube-like container beside him, etched with ancient markings and elegant designs, suddenly begins to shake violently as heat radiates from its surface. The mysterious man grabs the container and recoils slightly as its intense heat burns through his glove, his calm demeanor cracking for the first time. From inside the car view, the camera cuts to Aaron suddenly collapsing onto the ground outside, his body crumpling as pain surges through him without warning. The mysterious man notices Aaron in pain, as if he was reacting to the magical tube, which is behaving wildly. The mysterious man instructed his men to abduct Aaron, as if he knew what is going on. Two men in black suits suddenly move towards the location of Aaron without even checking if there are enforcers in the place. The two men in black suits is moving with deliberate speed as they close in on the fallen Aaron, with Pablo holding him and preventing Aaron to lay on the ground. Murgo reaches down and grabs Aaron by the arm, lifting him roughly while Aaron groans weakly, unable to resist. While Pablo is trying to hold the arms of Murgo, Pablo rushes forward instinctively, shoving Murgo with all his strength, but the man barely stumbles before striking back and sending Pablo crashing to the pavement. Pablo struggles back to his feet, fear and anger mixing as his shadow stretches unnaturally long across the ground beneath him. Blue-white sparks crackle violently around Pablo's feet as his shadow tears itself upward into a barely stable Umbra form. The incomplete Umbra fully emerges with a flickering, unstable shape as the two suited men pause and burst into mocking laughter. Gritting his teeth, Pablo points forward and orders his underdeveloped Umbra to attack despite its instability. Butch calmly steps forward as his shadow swells and rises with a heavy electric surge that ripples through the air. A massive beastfolk Umbra erupts from the man's shadow, towering over the street as a heavily armored mutant orc grips a gigantic axe. The mutant orc charges forward and swings its axe in a brutal arc, cleaving straight through Pablo's unstable Umbra. Pablo's Umbra shatters into countless shadowy fragments, dissolving into drifting particles that are violently pulled back into Pablo's shadow. Pablo runs towards the location of Aaron and pulls Aaron close, his hands shaking as fear overtakes him while the men advance once more. Before the men can reach them, screeching tires and flashing lights erupt down the street, forcing everyone to freeze in place. Two uniformed enforcers leap from their vehicle and shout commands as their shadows begin to rise in perfect synchronization. In each of them, fragments of shadows starts to rise. Enforcer Bank Umbra manifests as an armored humanoid with an ant-like head, gripping a massive sword as it lands heavily on the pavement. Beside it, Enforcer Rodden Umbra rises into a massive humanoid beast with a bandaged head and straw hat, carrying a spiked metal bat and an enormous shield. The remaining suited man snarls and summons his own Umbra, a demonic armored soldier wielding an oversized machine gun that immediately roars to life. The demonic Umbra unleashes a torrent of gunfire, but the shield-bearing Enforcer Umbra braces and absorbs the full barrage without yielding. In a blur of motion, the ant-headed Umbra leaps forward and slashes cleanly through the machine gun, sending shattered metal flying. The mutant orc Umbra roars and swings its axe toward the ant-headed Umbra, but the strike narrowly misses and cuts only empty air. Smoke suddenly floods the street as the demonic Umbra throws a grenade, forcing the Enforcer Bank and Rodden and Shield Umbra to pull back and shield the students. Through the smoke, the suited men retreat toward the car and escape as the engine roars and the vehicle speeds away.
Messing with my head